As you've seen from our results sequence, the club football season may be over, but some of the world's top players are involved in the Copa America, and in Europe the latest round of qualifying games have taken place for next year's international championships. And pre-season tours have already begun for the top clubs. So, big question, is there too much football? Well, with me to discuss that is the sports analyst Ernest Opuni. So, big question, is there too much football? And I can't believe I'm asking that, because I love it. But is there?
Well, Samantha, I mean, I guess when I play the arguments out myself, I kind of come to an answer which is somewhere along the lines of probably followed them by a but. Because I suppose if you think about some of the commercial drivers behind clubs, some of where, I guess, the money comes from and therefore where the exposure might be required in the off-season, you can understand why it happens. Flip side of that is that balance and the kind of the burnout for players potentially, and I'm not sure that plays a stronger part in the considerations an awful lot of the time. So I suspect the answer is probably closer to a yes. I mean, you think about if you had a winter break, would that make it less onerous? But you suspect clubs might then send some of the clubs out abroad on friendly matches. And I guess if you're playing in a lower division, maybe the answer isn't as straightforward a yes, because you're not being farmed out. So reasons for it, but yeah, on balance, potentially you could think about hitting the pause button more often.
But shouldn't the clubs worry about burnout? I mean, especially with a new season coming up.
Absolutely, they should. They should.
So how do they avoid this issue?
I think it's about the will so to do, and I suspect the danger may be that players are something of a commodity within a whole business movement. So
make it sound like we should feel sorry for them almost.
Yes, with the numerous zeros on the end of their salaries. But you think about potentially the growing pains of players and the chance to actually grow up without things like shin splints and that sort of stuff, which can happen by overplaying. And you think somebody somewhere might want to support players in actually being able to make choices or not be exposed to being out there all the time. That versus, I've spent X amount of money on a club, I'd quite like to show my toy off somewhere in the Far East or wherever, tends to win the argument. And then you think about things like representative football, so some of the internationals below the full level of internationals, when else might they play those matches? Would clubs release players during the season? Perhaps not. So you end up with this kind of concertina effect, and so it's a bit difficult.
How do you think they'll get around it when it comes to the World Cup in Qatar, should it happen in Qatar, very quickly?
Difficult to see how that's going to work. There'll be a lot of diary juggling. They'll probably have to arrive at some kind of an outcome, but I'm not sure how they're going to do that precisely.
Okay, thank you very much for your views.